All right, let's get this thing started. So, hi guys, my name is Caitlin. I am a former teacher who now works at ClassDojo. I taught second and fourth grade in California. I miss those kiddos a lot, and I know right now you're probably missing your kiddos too as you transition to a remote learning community. It's a huge ask, and I know a lot of schools left on Friday and didn't get to go back Monday. And it was suddenly like, okay, we're teaching online for the rest of the year. So just from ClassDojo as a team, the world in general, thank you so much for being flexible for your students and for your school community. What you're being asked to do is unprecedented. It's huge. It's something that, I don't think we've ever done before. And it's amazing the grace that teachers have in taking on this challenge and really supporting their students and families and school community. So thank you for everything you're doing. And thank you for being here today. My goal is to help you feel more confident as you transition to a remote learning community, and to show you how ClassDojo can really help you create a remote learning community that is best for your learners and your parents and your colleagues, and to make this transition easy peasy lemon squeezy. Great. Okay. So, if you have been following along with ClassDojo, you know that we recently shared a new landing page, classdojo.com/remote learning. A lot of the resources I'm going to be referencing today can be found there. We'll also be sharing a lot of links in the chat, so make sure to have your chat open, because we want you to have all these resources and to be able to walk away and to start your remote learning experience, and do it with confidence. Today, we're going to talk about first the tools that you need. We're going to talk expectations, because I think that's a really big step, a really big first step that's going to set you up for success. We're going to actually hop into ClassDojo, take a walk around. I'm going to show you some examples from real ClassDojo classrooms, and then hopefully we'll have some time for questions and answers. Okay, cool. So the first thing we're going to talk about are tools. This is what's going to set you up for success. You know that ClassDojo is going to be one of those things, but there are other aspects that, as a teacher going into remote learning, that you should think about before you just hop right in. Okay, so let's start first by talking about what you're going to do for the rest of the year. For some of you, you may just be closed for 2 weeks. For some of you, you may be closed for the foreseeable future. Everyone, just take one nice deep breath in with me. You can do this. You've got this. You had a couple months left, couple weeks left, whatever it might be, and you are a capable educator, and now you're just taking what you were going to teach your students and you're putting it in some kind of digital form so that students can continue that learning, and you're teaming up with parents to help their kiddos continue to grow. So I would recommend mapping out the rest of the year. Take a look at how many weeks you have left, the actual hours and day that you're going to ask students to be active online or with a curriculum, and decide what standards do I want to attack in this time. Once you do that, you can start looking at different digital resources that will help you. For me, I know that teaching second and fourth grade, I really liked Raz Kids is great, Splash Math, Khan Academy. That's a really great one, especially for learning videos that you can then post on ClassDojo, which we'll talk about later. Mystery Science, love it. Mystery Science even pulled their best lessons for remote learning, so that's a great one to check out. And then don't forget about social emotional learning. This is going to really change a lot of kiddos' lives, and they're looking for a little bit of normalcy from you. So consider looking at ideas.classdojo.com. The big ideas videos are there. If you haven't explored those yet, there's videos, discussion guides, lessons and activities around growth mindset, empathy, perseverance, so many more that I can't think of at this very moment. But these are great to showcase to your students and help them continue to grow those social emotional skills. And so as a teacher, I would probably pick one a week and really focus on it, share the video through my class story. I'll show you the specifics on how to do it in ClassDojo, but I really wanted to make sure you have those links. Last year, we also hosted the world's largest mindful moment. And so if you're looking for mindfulness exercises and things to really help your students feel calm and in control themselves, classdojo.com/mindful moment is another really good resource to share with your families. Okay, so we talked curriculum, collaboration. Don't reinvent the wheel. Think about how many teachers right now are going from a real life classroom to a digital classroom. That means if I teach fourth grade, I am not the only fourth grade teacher who is teaching fourth grade math right now. Instead, there's hundreds, thousands, millions teachers who are also trying to do this. So I would encourage you, we actually have a Facebook community. If you search on Facebook, ClassDojo Teacher Facebook community, I think Yusuf is gonna share that link in a moment as well in the chat. This is a great place where you can actually collaborate with other teachers in your grade level, ask questions, and really let's lean on one another to create content that we can share, because together we are stronger. We've got this. And right now you're joining us via Zoom. Zoom is great. There's also Google Hangouts. This is a great way to collaborate with other teachers. I would love to find other fourth grade teachers to talk with about curriculum. But also you can use that with your students. So you can create an event on your class story and post a link saying, hey, we're gonna have a class meeting at this time. And then your entire class can come together through a digital visual meeting. So those are two great resources that I would definitely recommend for collaboration. And communication. Okay, this is where we're gonna dive into how ClassDojo is really going to help you. And in a bit, I'm gonna actually open ClassDojo and show you exactly what this is. But I wanna give you a quick overview before we move on. Within ClassDojo, there is class story and there is school story. Okay, so class story and school story. Imagine this like your own private feed just for your class. Class story means any parent who's connected to your class, any student who's connected to your class can see photos that you post, videos you post, files you post. Did I miss any? Text you post, links you post. This is a great place where you can post video lessons. You can share handouts. If you had a whole Bridges math workbook, I've been there, that you have pages that are students still need to complete, you can actually upload PDF files onto Class Story so that families at home can access that work. So Class Story is visible by your families and by your students connected to your class. You can also do this school-wide on School Story. So if your principal wants to post updates about what's happening with your school, if they post them there, that means every family connected to your school sees those updates. Not only that, both Class and School Story have read receipts, so you can see how many people actually viewed the post, how many actual parents viewed it, which is, I think, amazing. Because then you know people actually read your message. It also has translation. So when you have families who speak Spanish, speak Portuguese, when they change their app to their language, it automatically translates these things for them. So whether using Class Story, School Story, or Messages, you know that you can communicate with every single family. Doesn't matter what language they speak. So that's Class Story, School Story. There's also events that you can post. And I mentioned this very briefly earlier, that you can create an event and it will set automatic reminders about that event, and families can keep track of things that are happening. I think this is a really great tool as we move to remote learning, because when you want to have those video calls with your entire class, you can create an event for it, share the link within that event, and families can then join that event at that time, at the right time. So events is honestly, I think, one of my favorite things that we've added. And I think it'll be really big for your remote classroom. There's also messaging. You know that families don't just need those general updates on class story and school story. They need to hear from you directly, and it's really great to be able to check in with those families. So when you want to communicate with families, you can send them direct messages. You can schedule messages. So let's say if you're like me, you have teacher brain, it wakes you up in the middle of the night. You can write out that message and schedule it to send first thing in the morning. Or perhaps you want families to have a reminder to, go outside and get, well, maybe not outside, maybe just in their backyard and get 10 minutes of exercise in. You could schedule that message to go out, and all families will receive that message and they can translate it if necessary. So there's so many ways that you're supported in terms of communication just within ClassDojo. And I'm going to show you what that looks like within the app in just a little bit. I would love to talk to you about expectations. I think that this is a really big thing that as you were all just thrown into remote learning that you may not have had a chance to stop and think about, or maybe you did and awesome, love you go for that. But I know I would probably just be going right into my plan and maybe forget to do expectations to start. I know that when I was teaching, back to school night was really big for me because I wanted to communicate with families' expectations, and that always set me up for success. We kind of need to treat this like our new back to school night. We're starting again. We're starting remotely. So setting those expectations is going to be key. So parents are your new colleagues, your new teammates. Together, you are teaching their kiddos. So imagine getting a new team member who you're trying to bring up to speed on what you're teaching, how you're teaching it, and how the kids are doing. That's kind of what you're doing with parents right now. So there's a couple things that you will want to set up with those families. Talking about growth mindset, a lot of families may not understand this whole concept of I can't do it yet. I know a lot of parents that I talked to when we talked about math, they'd be like, I'm just not good at math. Yeah, math's not my thing. And having that idea and kind of sharing it with the kiddos, their kiddos start to think that too. So it's really important to communicate with families, hey, we're going to have a growth mindset. If you are not good at math, when you help your student with their math, remember to say, I struggle with this. I'm just not great at this yet. So communicating that with families and helping them set a tone in their classroom, their home, is really going to help their students. And I know this is something that you already do in your classroom. Transparency is going to be key. You're going to want to really share with families what your plan is, what you want to do, what you want to achieve in these next few weeks. So consider how you might share with families via messaging, and sending a class-wide broadcast, kind of sharing what the plan is would be a really great idea. Questioning techniques. This is something as a teacher we all know, and families might not know. I know that when I was a teacher and I sent out reading assignments and I was using, I was having students record themselves at home and then I would listen to it and do running records. It was really interesting because by having them record themselves, I could actually hear the support they were receiving at home. So when you had a kiddo who's really having a hard time, sounding out words, and you're then hearing the parent telling them the word before they sound it out, that's a lot of information I'm getting right there. So giving parents questioning techniques, guiding them in how to be a teacher is going to be really important. So letting them know, hey, we want them to struggle sounding out the words. Giving them some question stems. I love Pinterest. You can hop on Pinterest and there's a ton of different PDFs or pictures of questioning techniques you can share with families. I think families would really appreciate that. And for families, also setting expectations of how often are you going to share with them? How quickly are you going to respond? Boys and girls, set quiet hours, my friends. Within your ClassDojo messaging, you can set quiet hours, and it will tell parents, hey, Mrs. Warren is not available at this moment. Her quiet hours are on. She'll respond when she can, when she's back. The wording is much better than what I just rambled on. But set quiet hours. That way parents know when they can contact you and when you'll respond. Letting them know this beforehand too is really helpful. Because you're remote learning, that does not mean that you need to be online all the time. That means, yes, you're available, but it's just like when you were in the classroom. You're available a certain amount of time during the day, and then you also need to make dinner for your families. You need to decompress. So setting those expectations with families is going to be really, really important, especially because all this is new to them. And there might be some anxiety, there might be some stress. So being transparent, working together is really going to help this go a little more smoothly for you. For students, setting expectations is going to be really important for them. They are going to want to know when they can contact you. How often do they need to be checking in on ClassDojo or online to see assignments, to see activities? Let them know ahead of time so that they can actively take charge of their learning and not need to rely on a parent reminding them. I think it's really important to post an agenda, an agenda like you would in your classroom. 8 a.m. we're doing our morning meeting, 9 a.m. we're starting math. Sharing an agenda on Class Story will help students keep track of their time. And again, give them that sense of normalcy so they feel like it's okay that we're doing remote learning. My teacher's still there for me. I still have a daily agenda. For students, it's really important for them to have a workspace. Make sure that they have a space set up that doesn't have distractions. They have the tools they need. Feel free to create your own workspace. Take a picture, post a Class Story so kiddos can see this is what my workspace should look like. And also, let them know, head outside, or at least do some push-ups in your house. Make sure to be active as well. How much time should they be spending online? They're going to look to you for guidance because think of it like summer break. You send them off and you're like, don't forget to read. This is a much more involved version of that, where you're trying to help them continue to grow and learn as you do remote learning. Expectations for yourself. Welcome to remote life. I know so many companies and people are going into the office to working from home. Personally, I am a remote person and it was a big adjustment. So these are kind of my tips to you, human being to human being, my friend. Make sure to get dressed. I know it sounds great to be in your pajamas, but get dressed each day. I promise you will feel so much better. Set a routine. You're starting, it's like you're in your classroom, so setting a routine is really going to help you feel good about your day. Again, creating a workspace, not just for students, but for yourself. There's going to be this temptation for you to bring your laptop into your bed and just work from your bed. Don't do it. I'm telling you, you will sleep so much better if your bedroom is just for sleeping and you have a designated workspace. Trust me. And you're going from a loud classroom. I mean, I'm assuming loud because loudness is the sound of learning. You're going from a loud classroom to maybe silence. So background noise is good. Play music really quietly. Play the ClassDojo toolkit music if you want to. I do that all the time just so I can focus. It'll really help you stay focused and energized and continue working and not feel this weird amoeba of working remotely. I talked about setting your quiet hours, but having a healthy work-life balance, figuring out what your working hours are going to be and when you're going to disconnect is important. Communicating that with families so they know what to expect is important. You will feel more productive if you set those hours for yourself and keep yourself to it. And if you're feeling overwhelmed right now, families probably are too. So don't forget that you can take a big deep breath, start slow, start with one thing at a time, and then you can continue to add to it. Especially if you're joining ClassDojo for the first time, guess what? There is a lot that you can do. Why? Because everything that we've created has been based on teacher feedback. Teachers have said, oh, it would be great if I could record videos on the web. And we were like, okay, engineers work like crazy. There it is. So there is a lot you can do on ClassDojo. Please don't feel overwhelmed. Know that it is okay to take it little bit by little bit, and that we're all here to support you and to help you make this a little easier. Okay, here we go. I think we're ready to hop into ClassDojo. I'm going to actually show you some real life teacher accounts to give you some examples. I've had permission from these teachers to be able to share this with you, so big shout out to them for letting me get to share their ClassDojo with you. Okay. If you are on a device where you can hop into ClassDojo, that would be great as well. That way you can kind of explore, check out different things, or feel free to just follow along with me. Okay, so we're going to go to, this is Kimberly's class. Kimberly is an ambassador, and she teaches kindergarten. So she said that we could take a look at her class. We're gonna click on her class, and the first thing you're going to see are her kiddos. She uploaded custom avatars, which I think is pretty cool. This is kind of an expert tip you can check out. Again, this is in the help desk. If you ever need help figuring anything out, classdojo.zendesk.com, or just Google ClassDojo Help Desk. There is an article for everything. But I love that she uploaded avatars for them. You can upload Disney stuff. You can upload their actual pictures of their faces, or you can just use the monsters as usual. She has them set into groups here, which I think is pretty cute. And right now I'm going to show you actually how she's interacting with her students as she has transitioned to a remote learning community. So that was her classroom. We're going to go to portfolios. Portfolios is where students have been posting their work, and she's able to really continue that remote teaching. You can see at the top here, this is just what's been submitted today with her kinders. A lot of work has been submitted today. I think that's really, really cool. You can see how much work her kinders are putting into their remote learning. You can see along the side all the different activities she's submitted for them to complete. She's been doing a lot of prep, and I love that she has made the activities numbered by day. Day 3, this is her ELA math. Day 4, ELA journal. Day 4, math. Day 4, social studies. And you can also see how many students have actually submitted. So let's click on day 4, social studies. 4 students of the 20 have submitted portfolio posts for that. You can see that up here, 4 have been approved. There's no pending. Pending would be if someone submitted them and she hasn't approved them yet. And 16 have not submitted them yet. This is really, really cool to see how she's organized this. We can open a student's post and see their writing. You can see that she's liked it, which is really cool. You can also leave feedback for students. So if she wanted to write something for her kiddo to see, like I love how you sounded out how to write this or that, whatever feedback it might be, she can share that with that student, and the families can also see that. So this is everything that she's created so far. I love seeing how much she's prepped. Do not feel like you have to be this prepped ahead of time if you're brand new to ClassDojo. This is a lot. But in order to create an activity, how she's doing this is she's clicking create activity. And this is where she can put the title, the instructions, and then how does she want her students to submit their reply, whether it's a text entry, a video recording, a photo, or a drawing. Now, when students take a photo or they do a drawing, they can also do voice notes. So this is really nice for, let's say I have my students doing addition strategies with numbers up to 20. Maybe I ask them to use found objects, take a picture, and write me, at least 3 different addition equations with those numbers. My kiddos might go find their Legos, take a picture of it, use the drawing tool to draw over the picture, and then use a voice note to then explain to me their math thinking. So this is how she assigned her activity. Close out of this. Otherwise, students can actually just submit on their own. They don't have to be replying to an activity. Let's go to her class story. You can see that she has been posting a lot. I love that she gets to actually interact with her students face-to-face by uploading videos. You can upload a class read aloud. Maybe it's information just to help guide them in how to do the math activity you're going to send out. You can post video to your class story. Really, the possibilities of what you can do are endless. You think about a student's attention span is a few minutes, and as teachers, we're supposed to do a little bit of teaching, a lot of student practice. This is going to be where you're going to do that. Videos can be up to 8 minutes long. That's a lot of time for a little kiddo. If you want to share a video that's longer in length, something that I like to do is create a Google Drive that is just for my class, and then I can create different folders for longer videos, and I can upload them there, and then I can share the link on my class story like she has done, like so. Pretty cool. Let's see if we can see, oh no, they're both on the same one. Okay, I talked about the help desk. There are so many articles for you to explore. I think one of the big things is really coming up with ways to teach remotely. And luckily, I took some of my brain power and I wrote down some ideas that I had around how you might use ClassDojo to teach remotely. So I shared that you could post a video on your class story. You could use that to post a read aloud. You could use that to teach a lesson. You could use that to just say, hey kiddos, here's my working space. I wanted to show you how I set up my desk, and connect families. You can use video in students' portfolios by sending out an activity or just having students upload on their own. You can ask students to do a video book review, to read aloud from their book. You can even do running records. One way you might do running records is have students take a picture of a page in their book and then record themselves reading it. Then you as the teacher can literally do a running record from wherever you are. I know that my school used the BAS system and there were specific books, but I know that because I've used the BAS system, I know how to do running record, which I'm sure you could also Google how to do that if you're not used to running records just yet. That'd be a really nice way to keep track of students reading. We talked about using videos to share. Taking pictures is great. I talked about in math how you can take a picture, draw over it, and add voice notes. So students doing math at home, we ask students to use manipulatives in the class. When they're at home, they have Legos, they have their socks. There's probably a million things they could collect and find around the house to create different math problems and show you their math thinking. Continue your social studies, whether you're sharing videos to your class story or you're encouraging students to interview family members. Maybe you want them to make a family tree. There's lots that they can do and share with you through their portfolios. Science, I saw a really cool post recently where someone on their class story took a macro picture, like a really zoomed in picture, and posted it to their class story. And they had a whole conversation around it with students, and then students would submit in their portfolio in their journal, all about what they think it is and what evidence they have to prove that it was a zoomed in picture of a strawberry, which is really cool. They can also go in their backyards, find an insect, take a picture and label the parts. If you teach second grade, I taught second grade, insects were a big part of that. And I know a lot of you had to leave your butterflies in your classroom. So you can continue those science lessons wherever you are. Like I said, you can share links in your class story. So I know a lot of you have different websites where you want students to practice their math via Splash Math, or watch this Big Ideas video. You can share those links on the class story. Both parents and students can access those links and the class story. Make sure to encourage students to get their 60 minutes in. One really fun idea I had was take a photo or video of you doing a workout. Maybe it's just doing a wall sit or doing push-ups, and challenge your students to see how many push-ups they can do. Because working remotely, you might be stuck in the house. They might be a little bored. They may just be sitting on an iPad. So make sure to encourage them to get up out of their seats and get active as well. Love events on Class Story, which I'll go back to and show you in more depth, where you can host Zoom or Google Hangouts for your class. So I'm going to hop back to ClassDojo, and then I'm going to ask my team members as I'm doing this to share with me any questions that I can call out as I log into my own ClassDojo. And we can play around with it a little bit, and I can really show you hands-on what we're going to do. Okay, so if I was logging in for the first time, signing up for the first time, teach.classdojo, or just go to classdojo.com and click whether you're a teacher or if you're a school leader. I'm going to click teacher and log in. And this is my account. I'm going to walk you through how to create an event, because I think that's one really helpful way to get your class together, whether it's for a live Zoom or Google Hangouts meeting. You can see I created one here. This is a fake one that I filled in. These links don't work because I made up the links. But when you create an event, let's click event. I might say class meeting. I set the day and time. This is where I would put the link to the meeting so that parents have it. You can change the little icon and the color. We'll just do that for fun. Oh, I don't like the yellow and yellow. Just kidding. I have to change it back. Change it to something else. Oh man, the artist in me cannot just let that go. There we go. And then I can set reminders. I don't have to come back and remind families, hey, we have a meeting in, this time, this day. They will get automatic reminders about that event. So let's create this event, and it will show up on my class story. And as a parent, I will get a notification about that event, and I can host a class meeting if I want to. We talked about using record, whether you're doing a read aloud, or I don't know if it's let me use my camera right now because I'm using the camera for the Zoom meeting. Oh, it worked. You can see my whole setup right now. You can record for your class story. You can do a read aloud. You can teach a lesson. Again, I think, it's 8 minutes. I think that's a perfect amount of time for our students' attention span. And then you can really break things up throughout the day with different lessons, different read alouds. You can also share files. This is so helpful. I was talking earlier about using things like a Bridges textbook or workbook, and they still have pages to complete. You can take those pages, even if it's just digitally, print as PDF, save it, and upload it to your class story so families can access those papers that you might want them to have. And again, you'll see how many families actually view these posts. You can see here, this event that I created has one view. If I click on that, I can see, oh, Deanna Ward viewed this. So you can really keep track of which families are actively participating, saving things, whatever it might be. You can see I uploaded a file here, I shared a link here, and I created a video for my families. So that, or if for families and students when I was teaching different ways to make $1. My team, ClassDojo friends, if you want to Slack me any questions that I can actually call out. Otherwise, I'm going to hop over to messages next, but happy to answer any questions that seem to be popping up quite a bit. All right, that's class story. If we go to portfolios, I showed you that in the other class that had much better examples than mine did. But you can click on each student to see what they've submitted. This is, again, my fake account doesn't have quite as much as that class did. That's why I showed you that one. But you might be thinking, how do students log in at home? The great thing is that this is super easy. In the classroom, you might do things like show this text code to log in. But you can see down in the bottom right corner, download individual student QR codes. This way, students can log in from their own devices. When you share that text code and the QR code that's meant for the classroom, so that you can display it on the board and students can pick their account. You really want to download individual QR codes so that students can just scan it and go right into their portfolio. They also can log in from their parents' account. So let's say they share a device with their family. When their parent logs into ClassDojo, they can switch over to the student account and allow their student to use their portfolio, or parents can post for their students if you have kinders who need a little more assistance. Let's see. Salima, you can just put it right in that Slack channel and I can read it from here. All right. Just sharing with teammates how I can answer your questions. Okay, so that's portfolios. Definitely do the individual logins. That's a great way for students to log in wherever they are. You can see up on the right here, there is more information about sign-in method and how to get student codes for home. And as well as getting parents signed up, you can invite them by email or phone number to make sure they're all connected. So even if you had to suddenly say goodbye, you didn't get a chance to send home paper invites, you can still invite families to your classroom straight from within the app. Great. Okay, so we have some questions popping up. People are asking best way to host a class meeting. Yes. Okay, great. To host a class meeting, so I'm all about class meetings, whether it's actually when I'm in my classroom or doing it digitally. I absolutely would create an event and I would post a link for a Zoom meeting. You're in Zoom right now. Zoom is great. I love it. When you have a Zoom account, you can just create a new meeting. So explore Zoom. If you haven't explored Zoom yet, be sure to explore it a little more. If you're a G Suite school, you have Google Hangouts. You can also share a link for Google Hangouts. I really do like Zoom because, you know, we have the chat feature. As a teacher, you can actually, you know, post, I think you can post a, you know, not a quiz, a poll. Little brain bubble there. But there's a lot that you can do within Zoom. So I would personally, if I wanted to host a class meeting, get all my class together, see their faces, chat with them, I would create an event, share the link, put it on Class Story. That way all my students know where to meet and what time to meet. And there's reminders to allow them to, so they won't miss the event. Okay, I should show the student side of the app. Okay, great. I'm going to switch over to the student side. So give me just a moment as I clumsily get there myself. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Just kidding. I really wanted to be on Saturday Night Live when I was a kid. Just, you know, giving you a little insight into me. Back when Mike Myers, what's his name? Anyways. Oh, someone had such a nice thing to say. Thanks. The poll was within Zoom. You can't, there's actually not a way yet to create a poll within ClassDojo, but we're constantly working on stuff. So, but yes, portfolios is private to that student and their parents and the teachers that are connected. That way you really can share feedback around that student's progress. That student doesn't have to be concerned about, you know, feeling, oh, I'm not as good at math as other kiddos. No, you show me what you can do, and you know who's going to see it? Your teacher and your parents, and we are a team for you. So portfolios is totally private between teacher, parent, child. If you want to share something with the entire class, Class Story is the place to do that. I wanted to show you the student account. This is what they see when they log in. So you can see at the top, I can share a photo, a video, I can draw, I can upload, oh, these are my to-dos. I can upload a file and I can journal. These are all ways that students can share on their own. You don't even have to submit an activity for them to do this. I love the file. A lot of people like to use Flipgrid with ClassDojo and share their Flipgrid to their ClassDojo, and that way it's all in one place. So they can do that by sharing a file. Underneath those tools, you can see that there is a to-do. This is where any activities that you assign will show up for a student. You can see that I have a couple that have not yet been completed, and when I click on it, it takes me back to the screen that I was on earlier. And these are different activities that I need to submit. This one is a draft. I had a self-portrait activity in October that I submitted a draft for. My teacher has not approved it just yet, but these are the ones I want to complete. So let's go to one recently, weekly reading check-in. If I click on this, allow my camera. So excuse, it's going to go to the camera. Hey, it's me. In this activity, the teacher has asked, what have you been reading this week? Record a video and tell me about it. Be sure to include the name of the book, the setting, the main characters, and what you think will happen next. So you can create different activities. This would be a really great way for the kiddo to grab their book and to tell you all about it. And then they submit it. So let's do this real quick. Record. La, 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 la. Stop. And then I love that it is not mirrored. So you can read the text and we can hand this in. Now that I've handed that in, I'm gonna wait for my teacher to approve it. You can see this has the little clock symbol on it to show that it is pending. There's a couple other ones that I've played around with and that are pending. And as a teacher, you can just continue to just submit those activities for students to complete. Let's go back. So that was the to-do section. And then as you scroll down, here's all those things I was sharing with my class. The PDF that I'd shared so the kiddo can, if they had pages in their workbook they wanted to complete or that you wanted them to complete, you could upload them there. The link to the learning video via Khan Academy, this 8-minute long lesson that I uploaded. So there's lots of ways that that student really feels like they're still part of your classroom community. I'm gonna hop back and see if I have any other questions. Ooh, oh my goodness, a lot popped up while I was not looking. Let's see. All right. So I think I've answered a lot. There's a lot of things going on. I think there's still a lot of questions that you might have. I would really encourage you to join us in the ClassDojo Teacher Facebook community. I'm doing my best and our team is doing our best to get back to you via email. As you can imagine, there are a lot of emails right now coming to us, to our support team. And we have an awesome little support team who's doing their best to answer those as quickly, but also as thoughtfully as possible. So thank you for having patience with our reply time. But if you join us in the teacher Facebook community, there's lots of other teachers who can help out and answer those questions. We also have the help desk with all those articles that will help you get started. A lot of times when you have a question, the answer is there. So be sure to check it out. And I'm hoping this was a great place to start. I still see questions rolling in. And there's so many that I don't think I can answer them all. So hopefully you'll join me in the teacher Facebook community. And hopefully all of you can share your ideas, share your questions, share your resources. And remember, don't reinvent the wheel. We're all doing this together. There's hundreds, thousands, millions of people right now who are trying to wrap their brains around a remote learning community, and we've got this. Us as a team at ClassDojo, we're not only just keeping the site running smoothly, but we have our team working so hard to listen to your feedback, create new things, to make things work better. So know that we are working hard and we are here for you.
For support, just to reiterate again how amazing our help desk is. We have a dedicated team member just for the help desk.
Yes.
Anytime there's a product change, it gets edited in that help desk. So we have a section for teachers, school leaders, parents, students, and then safety and privacy. And one trick that you can do is if you Control F on your computer, you can just put in the word, for example, portfolio or shared class, and the article will just go right up.
Really?
You can also use our search tool there.
Awesome.
But I highly encourage you to utilize this during this crazy time where we have longer
Yes.
support times. Usually we get back to our users within about 4 to 6 hours. And right now our wait time for support emails is about 2 days. So we highly encourage you to use this help desk. And I think it's really going to help you.
Yeah. Use the help desk and use each other. Many times people might even ask a question on the Facebook community that the answer is immediately answered by another teacher. So don't feel like you absolutely have to tag me. Don't feel like, if you're feeling overwhelmed, ask your questions there's an entire community behind you and here to help you. Help desk is getting thousands of emails a day. So they will try to get back to you as soon as possible, but this help desk is just a plethora of knowledge. So if you are a teacher who would like to share what you've learned, or you just are like, wow, this is a great resource, I want to share with others. First of all, classdojo.com/remote learning has so much information. Let's actually hop over that real fast. Okay, so if you're one of those teachers who's like, this was great, there's so much you can do with ClassDojo, I want to share with my colleagues, I want to get my school signed up, it works even better the more teachers and students and parents you have signed up. ClassDojo.com/remote learning has tons of resources that's easy to share with another teacher. There's a nice little video of me that gives the quick version of what we just did that you can share. I think we did it, friends. Okay, please let us know how we can help support you. I'm going to make sure I'm online for the next, I will actually be at my computer for the next few hours. I'll start a chat in the Facebook community. So let's talk. Let's figure out how we can make this amazing, not just for you, but for your kiddos, for your families, for your entire school community. So, bye, guys.